Hooniverse Podcast time once again. Today we're joined by a guy who quit his job to go drifting back before anybody knew what drifting was, which is respect for the wild leap, man. Vaughn Gittin Jr. is
Thank you.
with us on the podcast.
What's going on, everybody?
Welcome back, buddy.
Pumped to be back with you guys.
We're actually welcome, because Dan and I have been doing the Hooniverse podcast for a year and change now. And Vaughn, you and I did the Off the Road Again podcast a couple times. That was, I wrote it down, and you're going to laugh. It was in February 24, and it was December of 21. So it has been a country minute, and it feels like since then you have been all around the world.
Yeah, I do things. I'm a mover and shaker, but
That was a fun haver.
Look, I always enjoy chatting with you, Ross. So where are we going to go today, bud?
Resume. So I'm sure everybody wants to hear about my week with the newest Subaru Outback, but I think
How was that week, Ross?
We actually got a blizzard, and we got 18 inches of snow, and had to drive it through that, which was awesome. Less exciting than the stuff you've been doing, though, to be totally honest. So we want to talk, we want to talk new stuff. We want to talk old stuff. And I think, Dan, you queued it up. You teed it up earlier when we were talking. Let's go back in time a little bit. Vaughn, you are working on some old stuff that you're making new again.
That first car, it's been like, what, 20-something years, right? 25 years?
Oh, yeah, my S13 you're talking about? Yeah, I restored my 05 Mustang. That's back together. It's got its 2007 World Championship winning livery on it. I drove it the other day. And I was feeling nostalgic. I mean, I still am a little bit, but I was feeling very nostalgic about mid last year. And I've had it on my list to do, and so I got, I was able to get the team to knock out the 05 Mustang, and I decided that I was going to go ahead and commission to get my S13 redone.
Oh boy!
As you see, we have my first ever Formula Drift car. We just pulled it out from being stored. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's been at the paint shop since September. That's a whole other story about the quality and scenario of that. But it's going to be done here in the next couple weeks from paint finally. And then next step is going to go to Maryland to MA Motorsports, one of my first sponsors of that car. And we're going to put a different motor than it ever had in it. Still a 4-cylinder turbo, though.
4-cylinder turbo. Okay, it's gonna be KA swapped. The Mustang's interesting too, because it's what does it feel like when you drive it? Like, it still must actually be kind of current to drift with it, or has it evolved so much?
Dude. I drove it and I got out and I said, I have zero interest to throw this on the Big Bang at Irwindale.
What was it? The checks you had to write for it, or was it just?
Well, no. Oh no! It's just it is just heavy and lazy, and it's just a whole nother timing is so much more delayed than our current cars. It's crazy. It literally is like getting in a modern Mustang and then getting in a 1970 Mustang.
So powertrain responsiveness is one thing, and you obviously know the difference between how quickly an NA-V8 or a turbocharged powertrain responds. Do you notice a difference in chassis rigidity when you bounce between all?
Yeah, I don't know that I would say rigidity necessarily, but I would just say the setup and the way the car it works and its weight, and where the weight is, when we built that car in 05, we literally went to a Ford dealership, bought it wasn't a race team that built that car. It was a guy who built Mustangs in Southern California.
Yeah, the shop.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think the motor was pushed back. I think it's like in the factory mounting
it's
location.
on the factory mounts, right? No plate or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, it's not even, pushed back. So, like, where the weight is, how the car moves, it is just, like, I am very impressed with myself with the things I was able to make.
Your
with-
engineering
with
was ahead
that-
of its time.
Yeah, with that car. But nonetheless, it was the irrespective of, like, the driver, wanting to be a driver and, like, want the best shit. The nostalgia of driving that car for the first time in 15 years and hearing that sound again and, like, remembering how to start it and, like, all the flashbacks. I mean, the mental stuff that I have taped up in my, up in the ceiling that I used to look at when I would start to get, like, negative emotions or negative self-talk coming in and how I would divert from that. Like, it was a really, really cool. And, a lot of my team that are here, specifically one guy, one of our designers, Hayden, he's been into drifting and he's 23 now, 24. He's been working with us since he was like 16 and he's been watching it since he was 7. So, like, him watching this car run and what it meant for him, it just a lot of nostalgia and, like, memories and realizations of, like, wow, that is literally the car that got me to where I'm at right now, So it was really cool, and it still sounds unfreaking believable. 15 years! We had that motor built by Hasselgren. So we started out with a Sean Highland Terminator with a supercharger, and we couldn't keep his motors together. And Falcon had enough, and they went to Hasselgren, who was building the Toyota Atlantic Series 4AGs, and said, "Can you build this?" And literally gave them a Terminator motor, which is, for those who don't know, it's the 32 valve, dual overhead cam, big mod motor. And they literally, on their first try, built the most powerful NA mod motor on the planet.
Hey, kudos to that.
That was like 600 horsepower, and it held together.
And
we ran it from probably 06 to 08.
Jeez. It is interesting, though, how almost disproportionate the memory is to sound over all of the other parts of motor related experiences, like power delivery, fine, seat of the pants, movement and whatnot, awesome. But, like, the way it sounds and the way it, like, brings about everybody getting excited is such a different thing.
It's so visceral and it's just raw, and yeah, was a lot of fun. Thanks for asking about that, because it's really cool to think about. And I have vision now to take that car and run it up against our current cars in, like, a series of, like, tests, and let it get its ass handed to it. Like, I have vision of, like, we'll start in a turn and the current FD car, I mean, it is going to be miles apart.
But that's what
when
you
it
want,
starts to
right?
itself.
That's the evolution of technology and engineering.
Yeah, but so there's no
100%.
situation where the old car might have it above the new car, like in a slalom or like some kind of test, right? Where the old car really shines versus the newer cars that, as the whole series has evolved, as the sport has evolved, they're all purpose built. So there's nothing you can kind of come up with that might give that one a win. Wow.
No. There's not one thing that car would do better than our current car.
Wow. It's probably the same as the Street Mustang too. They're
Oh yeah, I mean, if you took a 05 Mustang to a current Mustang, it's not even a discussion.
Yeah. So
in anything, braking, accelerating, turning.
let's play the through line game here, because obviously RTR has become since the last time you and I even talked, RTR has really, really done well for itself. and shit, you've done well for it. But the RTR Ford collaborations, do you, and I know you're like obliged to say yes, but are there ways that you've taken those experiences with past cars that you've won races and, you know, had huge experiences with and use them to impact the cars that people can now walk into a dealer and buy?
Look, I'm not obliged to say anything.
That's good. That's yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
I will always say it as it is and give the perspective. And you know, what you just said is something that like I take very serious. You know, when I started RTR, it was literally for no reason other than I wanted to inspire a new generation of Mustang. I felt that, you know, I was not a Mustang guy growing up. We just talked about me building my first S13. And when Ford debuted the 05 Mustang in like 04, it was the first Mustang that I was ever like really attracted to.
Resonated with, yeah. I remember that Steve McQueen commercial, and I was 15, but I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. And so I, you know, when we went and bought that car and built it, and I started campaigning it, you know, and I started like hooking the car up, I realized there was nothing that spoke to me, you know, and, you know, through years of driving the car and getting integrated with the community of Mustang and, you know, starting to talk to Ford, I just like, man, there's like, we got to do something to make these things cool to my generation, to that next generation. And, you know, I had no business plan, no anything, right? That's basically, you know, long and short of why I started RTR, of just a passion to do cool shit and inspire a generation of Mustang. And you know, fast forward now 17 years-ish, 18 years, who's counting? You know, I'm now the same kid that, you know, had Hot Wheels pried out of his hands at 5 years old to take rings down my parents' aisle at their wedding. I'm still the same kid playing with Hot Wheels. They're just bigger. And also my big Hot Wheels also are able to be in thousands of people's driveways. And so I take that very serious when we are creating. So the collaboration with Ford, you know, we have our spec vehicle line. Those vehicles, you know, basically start at $70,000 and go up to, you know, 160, 180 with our Spec 5. And so the opportunity to collaborate with Ford was a dream of mine since I started RTR. And when the opportunity, the Mustang started, you know, I had this opportunity in 2014 with Ford, but the opportunity was basically a parts bin car. And this opportunity of the Mustang that we just announced, the EcoBoost, was really the opportunity for us to take what Ford has done amazing and really enhance it for an entry-level, enthusiast-focused product. So while I can't disclose pricing, it will be out like in the next, you know, very, very soon, because OK to Buy is coming for that product. But it is a really well-contented vehicle for the price point. And I can say, you know, EcoBoost now are under 50 grand. This car is going to be well under that, you know.
I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for bringing OK to Buy back into my vocabulary. I haven't heard that in a couple of years. And we lived and died by
Ford. Yes, you didn't know. Dan was a Ford boy for a little while.
I was actually going to ask, like, did you approach Ford or did Ford approach you? How did that first call go?
Well, look, we've been partners, you know, at this time. I mean, this program started in 2023. Yep. You know, there was no mistake that like they knew I wanted to do something like this at some point. And so, but when this opportunity came about, you know, it was there. They presented it to me, and I was like holding back my excitement in the moment of like, we're doing this. 2 years ago, my RTR team and I embarked on a secret project with Ford. My whole life has been chasing my passion, and like my purpose is I really believe is like putting smiles on faces, whether it's through entertaining through driving or content or creating vehicles for people to have fun in. And that creating can be, working with Ford and creating the drift brake.
Yep.
It can be giving feedback on Raptor or Bronco or creating our own vehicles. And so to go back to my long-winded answer to your question, everything that is in this brain goes into our vehicles where possible. You know what I mean? And I have an amazing, amazing team, but it's like the little knobs that, I am a lifelong enthusiast. So the little knobs that we turned on this and the Bronco RTR, the other collaboration vehicle,
talk about next.
are things that only Ford can do. When we get a spec vehicle, our spec vehicles are amazing. You drive one of our Mustangs or our Broncos, they're capable, they're fun, they look great. Obviously I'm a little biased, but like we do the things to make them what I would want it to be and what I believe other like-minded people would want it to be. But when you collaborate with Ford, we're changing software that I can't even get to. The Mustang has a unique in track mode, has a unique stability strategy that allows you with just a single press instead of a full advanced track off, it allows you a bit more yaw. It allows you to get a bit more sideways. We were able to get and stiffen the suspension up. We went into the parts bin and stole Dark Horse suspension parts, sway bars, bushings. We were able to put anti-lag in the car. Yeah. I knew Ford had an anti-lag strategy.
That's beyond what most people would think, like any kind of collaboration would do.
But you're right. Like it speaks to enthusiasts. I remember when that whole announcement came down. I was at the company at the time, and there's a lot of non-enthusiast people at the company that just, they make it go.
Big corporation. That's the way
it blew my mind. Yeah. I was like, it's got anti-lag. It's got a drift brake. And I had to explain to people, like, no, this is really awesome. Like, this is, you never would think a large company, especially one that can tend to be conservative sometimes, would do something like that. But yeah. And the fact that there's an EcoBoost that a normal person can aspire to, like, it still might be a stretch, but it's not out of reach, like that's where you're going to get the next generation of enthusiasts. So I love that they played ball. Yeah.
But it wasn't even like it wasn't hard. Like the group we had was so passionate, and really, Dan, if you worked at Ford, like there's such a great group of passionate people at Ford, and like we extracted that passion collectively, and it was a really special program. It was very scrappy, and everything that we did was purposeful. We were at the proving ground, and I started driving the car, and we had like a set duration of like what we wanted to achieve for someone that would go out and go drifting. And I noticed that you pick the throttle up too much and you go to get back in it, there was just a little too much lag, and the timing was just not intuitive. You had to like pick the throttle up before you wanted the car to go for it to work. So I complained about that, and then that's where we got that idea. And then we were starting to get some, temperature cuts because of, the low airflow, especially doing like figure eights and smaller, slower movements. And so that's when we went and got the highest powered fan that is possible. We used a steering rack from, the steering rack that has the most steering angle possible. So we increased, don't quote me, but I'm going to say we got like 5 to 10 extra degrees of steering angle just by the steering rack.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, this isn't a drift
talking
car.
Stock vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not presenting this as a drift car, but it can drift. This is the ultimate enthusiast car. If it wears the Ready to Rock badge, it needs to be ready to rock. Back roads, twisties, drag strip, drifting, whatever you want to do with it. I'm not going to tell you it's going to beat any lap time, but I'm going to tell you that you have the ability to have more fun than you could imagine in any of our vehicles. And so all of this stuff came from my learning of racing. And that is the road to race story from, those vehicles. The collaboration vehicle, and we can definitely get into Bronco and
let's talk about the Bronco, because you start. Okay,
sorry, Dan. Before we go there, first I was also going to say you have your own RTR Mustang Psycho Death Machines that are they take that platform and they go to like the end of the world, and it's like full kill mode. And we shouldn't ignore that, because that has a place in the world too.
Well, the good news is we make sure that our vehicles are very linear, meaning the suspension doesn't really have a knife edge to it. The suspension and the suspension and tire package that we choose is, not the grippiest, and we're not set up to go set track records. And if you want to do that, you can adjust it and put stickier tires on it. But the car is very intuitive for an owner. I feel very responsible when we sell a Spec 3 with 810 horsepower and a Ford Racing supercharger. I feel very responsible in the way we've developed these vehicles. And to your point, we want to have something for everyone. And now with this collaboration with Ford, we now have the ability to be in dealerships all over the country, all over North America, I should say. And for those that want more, then they can step into our spec program, which, not to brag, I do want to just say, I just got in fact, this will be the first time I publicly shared this, actually, but I have my color shape for my Spec 5 that I just ordered. So our Spec 5 is our top vehicle. So this color, we call it Urban Bamboozle.
Urban Bamboozle.
It's like color
yellow
shifts, right? Like
color shift.
Yeah, color shifts. It's like a gold, green, blue, and I don't know if you can see it, but then I got champagne, like light champagne colored wheels.
What I was gonna ask.
So this is what all of our Spec 5 owners get, and we literally just started building Spec 5. So this is what I got to approve it, and it's in the queue. So
very nice.
Yeah,
but
humble brag.
I mean,
But yeah, it's a beautiful car, and it's, our Spec 5s, every time we do a generation of Spec 5, that's kind of like the pinnacle of our performance in representing us in that time. And this car is so well refined. Our previous gen, the panels, the wide body had exposed hardware. This is all integrated. It's not molded in, but it's all, hidden. And we did a metal tooling for the composite. Wow. So it's like literally comes out of the tool ready to paint. I've got an unbelievable engineering team that really, does it the right way, and takes, mine and our, Lindsay, who's our lead designer and a 20-year friend of mine. We challenge them very much. But again, it's like, I'm not interested in just, doing things that don't make an impact. And I'm not driven by just dollars. Like, it has to tick the box of like things I would be proud of. I take it very serious because automotive culture has been so important to me that if my creations and the things that I do, content, racing, whatever, can inspire somebody to engage in automotive culture, get a car, go to a race, and even have like automotive culture affect them, even a small percentage of what it's done to me in my life, like that to me is like the bigger picture of everything that I do. I mean, I've met friends, made a business, met my wife through my love of cars. You know what I mean? And so that's all that I'm just curating. And the things that I'm doing are just a result of that.
Yeah, it's like every kid's dream, man. It got like get your own sort of signature line of high performance cars. Like you get your name on the dashboard. It's like we all grew up with like Shelby and that kind of thing, and it's just like good job.
Seriously, thank you. It's crazy. It is crazy, and I'm often reminded what rare air that I'm in. I'm so head down, ass up, doing the thing, that I rarely get to step up, except when I have these combos and someone like yourself who worked at Ford, knows these things, says something. I'm like, damn, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to talk about hammers. I was going to say, I really want to talk about hammers.
Well, I want to talk about the Bronco.
So let's do RTR Bronco. So obviously, Vaughn, you've really gone headfirst into the off-road stuff and taken the Bronco 5 years ago. We didn't even know there was a Bronco 5 years ago. So here we are. Now there's an RTR Bronco.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like it's what happens when you have an off with your Mustang and you go, actually, that was kind of fun. And you find the right car for it.
No, that's how I got in off-road. I just drove my Mustang in the grass enough. I'm like, all right, I started out in motocross. Even before drifting, I was racing motocross. I mean, as a teenager for a long time, actually. I wasn't a pro. I was a winning C-class rider, mid-pack B-class rider. And, and then there would be A, and then there's pro. I think it's important to explain how I got in off-road, because a lot of people are still kind of surprised, even though I've been doing it now for a decade. But in 2015, I was on the beach in Jamaica, and Nitto offered me a opportunity to go race King of the Hammers. And I was like, I'm on the car. I literally remember I'm on the beach, feet in the water, and I'm like, is that race with the desert and the rocks and and they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's try it. It sounds like fun. And, little did I know I was going to be hooked after that. And the year, that was 2016. In 2017, I showed up, 365 days later with a classic Bronco bodied race truck and was really committed to starting to race. That's how I got into off-road. And RTR, I personally, and Lauren, my teammate in the RTR off-road team, we were obviously, fast forward 2018, 19, we were working with Ford, and roughly 2020, I think, we're doing durability loop testing with the Bronco team, and it just made sense for RTR to get into Bronco. So we built our spec line and then ultimately, after the Mustang collaboration, the opportunity to do kind of similar mindset with Bronco came to fruition with Ford. And, we just debuted that at the Detroit Auto Show. And the vision was very similar to Mustang. Hey, how do we take all the things that we know and create a RTR vibe, right? The style, the bright color options, the looks, all the things that we're known for, and make a very, conscious, enthusiast focused entry level Bronco. And we did it. And this thing is freaking badass. And it was very similar to the mindset of the Mustang. Okay, what are the pain points? So boom, 2.3 to keep the price point down.
Base motor.
First of all. Second of all, I love the 2.3. It is noticeably lighter. When you're going through the whoops or when you're balancing on rocks.
Yeah.
I mean, we just built Bailey Campbell, one of our drivers. She
just joined this year,
truck.
Right?
Yeah, last year we brought her on, but this year she had her new truck. We've been building her since last year. And that 4600 class that we raced at King of the Hammers, that truck is a 2.3. She beat me by a second in qualifying, and I had a 2.7. It's the regular 2.3.
Does it have the motorsport tune on it at all? I mean, it's got tons of potential.
It's stock. But you'll be able to add, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to say this, but I'm going to say it. I have a prototype turbo kit that we're working with Ford Racing Parts on right now that will work for the Mustang and the Bronco.
For the 2.3.
Yes.
Google tells me that, naked without any accessories, it's 125 pound difference between the 2.3 and the 2.7.
It's certainly noticeable. Whatever it is, it's definitely noticeable in the vehicles. It's why we transitioned on the race truck. And because a lot of people are like, well, why can't you get the 2.7? And it's again, price point. You want a 2.7? You can go to our spec vehicle. You want a 3-liter? You go get the badass Raptor. You're not beating that vehicle, period, for the price point. Yeah. And similar thing. What's the challenge with this? We need to be able to have fun longer. Okay. And Ford engineering team said, well, let's use the Raptor 1,000-watt fan to help, especially in the low speed, high load. So we put the Raptor fan on it. We got the Raptor steering gear on it. So it's got the strongest steering gear that you can get.
Weak points of the Bronco in low speed off-roading, especially rock crawling. You have been steering and heat management.
So we're able to make those improvements. Definitely added anti-lag to this as well. Bronco with anti-lag. It's so unbelievably different. And the thing is, like, when you're off-road, right, there's nothing worse than like the millisecond, 5 millisecond, whatever, you pick up the throttle and there's a little bit of a delay. And this just keeps it right there, right? So mid-corner exit, you're in the whoops and you're like timing things and you need that power to get that skip. Like it just makes a big difference. That response makes a big, big difference. We're also able, as a base vehicle, it comes with 33s, but also has the highest clearance suspension. So you don't need Sasquatch to get the higher ride height on the Bronco RTR. The other thing, in base, you get the widest track width. By the way that we engineer the wheels, you don't need Sasquatch to get the wider track. You get the wider track in our base vehicle. So from a base perspective, you get all the looks, which obviously we love the poppy colors, but you can make it tonal if you want. Beadlock capable wheels. And, base comes with the Bilsteins. If you go to Sasquatch, you get the Fox internal bypass.
I love the wheels, so, the Evo 6 and the Tech 6. I can't pick my favorite, but I do love the wheels. I think it's probably the Evos, actually. I just think they're sharp.
Yeah, I love the Evo, and that's why we went with it on this. And this is a beadlock capable wheel. So it's rock ring from factory, and then you can dismount it, mount it, and then the rock ring becomes a beadlock. Just like Raptor. And like this vehicle is the most, overall capable under Raptor, and the customer for this vehicle is not a Raptor customer, and it's just so cool, like Ford and Ford Racing product right now. Like it is a really amazing time. Again, I've been there almost 20 years. It is amazing time because the energy around the product, around the opportunity, around the customer experiences, like it is just really cool shit that's going on. And I'm just pumped to be a part of it and pumped to be in a position that I can help curate the product that fellow fun havers can get their hands on, you know?
That was always my, like, I always just watched so jealously with what, at the time it was Ford Performance, like what they got to do, how much fun they had. And they work really closely with Roush and just, there's just that, like, those were the people that I wanted to hang out with, like at the company. It seemed like you had a really good time. I do want to come back to the vehicles that you internally build yourselves. Like, what was that like, sort of setting that up on your own? What did you have to do that? Because you've got paint, you've got assembly. Yeah. Like that's a big undertaking.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when we started RTR, it was dealer installed. I launched the brand at SEMA in 2008. And at the time, it was really just bootstrapping. I was spending, anything I made in motorsport, which wasn't much at the time, trying to like get this thing off the ground. And it was all dealer installed up until basically 2023, where I was able to get what's called bailment or fleet account with Ford, to where we were able to get allocation of volume of vehicles and then build them. And so I was kind of stuck with a situation of like, okay, now I've really created a problem, because how am I going to build 500,000 vehicles a year? I don't have the space here. The cash flow of the inventory and all the things that it takes to do this. And so we ended up partnering with a group by the name of Fox Factory. They purchased a lot of the old upfitter companies back a while ago. And so they have 3 plants that do these types of builds. And so, I'll save you the trials and tribulations from 2008 until 2023. But, look, it was just a lot of hustling and figuring it out, and a lot of, just realizing what it was like to be in the car and automotive industry. And I really just built the brand on the coattails of all the things I was doing, and just made sure to keep it authentic. And I didn't have millions of dollars of marketing budget. We still don't do that. It was just very organic and authentic, connecting it to the things I like doing. And, when customers would be around, we'd tell those stories, and it just, it's grown over the past 17, 18 years, and, but 2023 was kind of like a turning point. Like, what do we do? And I've said multiple times in this, like, I'm not fully driven by money. I just want to do the cool shit. And so, rather than going and getting a, $50 million loan on my head, we went and partnered up with Fox Factory, and I retained, ownership of RTR, but basically worked with them for them to manage the things that they had infrastructure to manage, right? The inventory, the building of vehicles, the painting the vehicles, the distributing them to the dealers, the, 40-person sales team. And so I basically structured our business
had no idea
to where we can continue to be like the dreaming, designing, the engineering, the marketing, the experiential arm, if you will, is what we do here in Charlotte. And then once we develop a product and get it ready for manufacturing, then we work with Fox Factory and get it all executed. And so that's been, we've been doing that now for 2 years. Last year, we did just over 500 Mustangs and 200 or 300 Broncos. And, we're expanding, and there's been a lot of learnings, but we really have a really, good teams working together to evolve. This stuff is not easy.
I mean, you can build one car, right? Like one guy in one garage, you can build one car. It's a whole different ball game to build even 10.
Building cars is hard,
right? Like it's just everything has to come in at the right time, and it's amazing just to see it go in volume.
So here's a potential tough question. I'm gonna throw a good one at you. So with Ford, with the Bronco, you produce the vehicles with so I'm a huge tire nerd. That's ultimately what matters the most off-roading. So that's, that's my crux of existence in this world. So the Bronco RTRs are Goodyear tires, right? They're the 33-inch.
So collaboration vehicles with Ford are Goodyear.
And then your RTR vehicles are Nittos. Do you have this crazy internal conflict about that? Or do you find a way to,
Well, the reality is, in Ford collaboration world, there's a lot more to consider, right? 50,000 tires.
Sorry, Dan.
It's not what it is, but it's funny.
I know.
It's the validation. Yeah. It's the time of validation to even think about changing a tire.
Right.
Then there's the supply. Then there's the shelf life approval. And Nitto at this moment, is not a validated, approved for production product with Ford. So, when we were doing a collaboration vehicle, I focused very much on the things that could be done within the time frame and that were going to make the biggest impact to the customer while, keeping all the goals, in check. So, yes, I'm very loyal, and I love Nitto tires. I mean, I've been working with them and running them since 2013. And they are a great partner, and they are, for the enthusiast.
I think in 2013, I had a set of OG, the first gen Terra grapplers on.
How do you remember the tires you had in 2013?
Because
he said tire guy, dude.
Grip is literally everything when you have a truck with open front and rear diffs and no center diff.
Yeah, grip and not getting punctures is everything. Also, but yeah, it was just one of those things that was, this is what it was, and the truck works great. I absolutely love what it is. Again, it's tough because of course I want to put, Nittos on everything, but we have our, spec vehicles, and that's where, that's not a collaboration. So we get to say exactly what we're doing 100% on that. And, we have our own validation, and I don't have some of the challenges that Ford does and why they have their processes, the way that they do. So,
so the Hammers Bronco is running what?
Nittos.
Mud grapplers?
Trail grapplers.
Okay. Yeah.
So
how you gonna get a set, Ross? You're gonna
for
like,
Mike?
Yeah, you're gonna get a set now and be like,
no, that would be woefully overkill for my.
You'd be like, Vaughn has these
for my daily, yeah. But yeah, so Vaughn, how's Hammers?
Hammers was freaking brutal, dude. Well, I did 3 races out there, so I went out to do 2. Lauren took a little digger on
because Lauren was on. I've recorded a few shows with Lauren, and I love Lauren. He fucked himself up.
Jesus,
did he not?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't bad. He just wanted to rest his body and his head from the flip that happened. I wouldn't say he was wrecked. Like, I didn't really notice much. But, at least he was honest with himself, and he just wasn't feeling 100%. He asked me to race the desert race, which I did. And we got second place to Brad Lovell in the F-150 Raptor, and I was in the Bronco Raptor. And, Ford Racing, America's racing team, showed up and did their job, if I could, say it. But, then we raced the 4600 on Friday before the big race that you really want to talk about. And that was a great race. I started the race. Lauren finishes it. I do the desert lap. He does the rock lap. It helps us conserve our body for the next day. And Lauren's better than me in the rocks, especially with a short wheelbase truck. He has a lot more experience. And then that day, Friday. Oh, speaking of Friday, that's the day that they gave us the freaking third lap of 4,400 race course. So we really had no idea what we were getting into. We spent all week pre-running, which this was their plan, by the way. And then Friday, they dropped the course on us, and they're like, oh, yeah, if you want to go hike and check some of these out, you certainly can. And so it turns out that Hammers race this year, so 4,400 unlimited class, they literally put us on lap 3 on buggy trails that had not been broken.
Yeah, so what's that like? Because the trails change. Like, you walk them, and then by the time you're driving on them, they're different.
Well, these ones wouldn't even walk because they gave it to us Friday, and we had to race Friday, so we couldn't even go look at the trail. So the first time that, I didn't even make it to lap 3 because I broke a front drive axle, or CV, and I had to make the tough decision. I broke that, then I smoked my winch, and I couldn't, no way, make it through the next 3 trails that would have got me to pit where I could fix my truck. So I had to kill the race because I was up in the front. And I didn't want to be a trail plug for everybody, so I made the unbelievably responsible decision to just call it, which was so freaking hard, by the way.
And for context, I don't know if people know how much or what King of the Hammers is, but this is the race that you see people driving over other trucks and winching over other trucks to keep going. So it's easy insane to be a trail plug.
And totally. But with 3 drive wheels, and no winch, I was sure going to be a trail plug. And now it's all eyes on Lauren. I'm out like the middle of lap 2, and I jump in a Bronco Raptor and start chasing the race and chasing Lauren. And he's winning the race. He's got a huge gap, winning. Then he's not. Then he's winning. Then he's not. Then he flips. Then he flips back over. It was just a crazy race. And they put us through these trails that were absurd. I mean, there was this one trail. I remember watching this. I think it was called Ballpeen. And you basically go up this canyon, and then you make a left, and you go up another canyon. And then if you looked at the thing that you had to come down from the bottom, you wouldn't do it. But it's like this. So like you come, Lauren's perspective, I literally watched him do this. He drove up to this, and then he backed up because he thought the GPS line was wrong. They got out of the truck and they looked. And yeah, bro, you had to drive down that shit. Like it was
Ballpeen?
I think it's called Ballpeen. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. But it was just insanity. The last lap, it was just insane. And Lauren ended up losing the race ultimately, basically because of our winch choice. And it's not Warren's fault, but prior to this race, we only had to run, pull the winch maybe once, twice, 3 times in a whole, you guys race.
Synthetic or cable?
Synthetic rope, but we were running their RC series, which is like a rock crawler. It's a small winch. It's like an 8,000 pound winch.
It's like,
and it works. It'll move the truck, but
side by
not
side
the 50
winch.
times that you had to winch. And so we both burn our winches
God
out.
damn.
And that ultimately, then he had to drive really hard because he couldn't afford getting stuck. So he was driving hard through really big rocks and just ended up catching a rock and punctured his transmission.
Yeah, here's
which with the armor on the bottom of these things, the rock that he hit, I still haven't seen it, but it's got to be freaking insane.
Something that people probably also don't realize about the nature of like rock-laden trails that you get at Johnson Valley or even rock crawling in the Northeast is like one truck will go up, and then by the time the next truck lines up, it might be a completely different line or trail that you actually have to square up to.
Yeah, I mean, you go pre-run, and the lines are all different. Rocks are moved. People are wheeling 24 hours a day in these trails.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Like it goes all night. It's like a 24-hour event, and
you got to stop racing.
It's just a huge amount of people.
Hammertown floods out, and
it's cool. It is a really special event, though. I mean, the community and the culture that's going on and people out there. I mean, it's amazing the amount of, Raptors out there having fun, Broncos. I mean, it's so cool to see all these vehicles that I know Ford and Ford Racing are putting so much effort into just out there being used for what they're meant for. Like, I love that so much.
And they really did. Like, they went hard at racing since about 23. Their goal was, hey, we want every weekend there's a Ford vehicle racing somewhere around the globe, at least in one series, in multiple series. The Mustang is really one of the big platforms for it. Raptor too, and
V8 supercars. The Mustangs are
I mean, it's really
getting hard. Yep.
2 years, 3 years in, it's paying off, right? Like you're just seeing a lot of fun, and you gotta have an excuse to go back next year, right? Because want to do better.
So, what haven't you raced? What racing boxes do you still want to check at this point?
Man, I'm doing the things that I want to do right now. I'm really enjoying off-road right now. I'm still doing some drifting. We obviously are campaigning 2 drift cars with Ben and James, and I'll show up and do 2 rounds this year, which I'm excited about. I'm really enjoying, my efforts at Baja, desert racing versus rock racing.
Yep.
I'm having a lot of fun with that. Lauren and I have commissioned a trophy truck. So I shouldn't say commission. We have our process where we work with our chassis guy, Igor at Triton Engineering, and then we bring it to our shop and work our magic on things.
You do like Dakar?
So yeah, I'm just enjoying. I think Dakar's cool. I don't have the time. I don't have the interest to dedicate the time that it would take for me to be where I'd want to be with it. That is a very time-consuming initiative.
Not just the race itself, the prep. Yeah.
It's a lot, and same with NASCAR. Everyone's like, oh, you should go do NASCAR. And I'm like, and the amount of time and understanding and engineering connectivity, it's just too much.
You could get a seat in the truck series and you'd probably have less fun than you're having doing other shit, Yeah.
And I love enthusiast events. So I don't want to be locked into chasing something, because I want to be able to go to the Hyperfest and the Grid Lifes and the, be on the ground with my people just having fun, and so for me, I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. I can't tell you one thing right now with racing beyond exactly what I'm doing that I'm like, I really wish I could do that. That's a really cool thing to say because it's nice to be living the dream, literally. And that's what I'm doing day in, day out. And that could shift in the future. But right now it's, racing on and off road, being a awesome father, halfway decent husband, and working with Ford Racing and Ford and developing cool products for fellow
How old are your
enthusiasts.
kids?
Grayson is 4 and Gunnar is 7.
That's
so Dan is 2.
Good age.
Dan is 2, and I have 2.
Yeah,
so
mine are a little older, but it does get in their blood. The roar of a V8 and the kind of excitement of like Ross was talking about the snow. The snow does this magical thing where it reduces the coefficient of friction. And so you can have the kids in the car and you can drift around in the parking lot. They enjoyed that when they were little.
They do enjoy it. I took my 3-year-old daughter off-roading last month and she loved it.
Yeah.
So
they like your responsibility. It's great.
Yeah, they love it. My youngest is a little more like wide open. Like they both, Gunner's got a 4-wheeler, Grayson's got a PW50 on training wheels, and Gunner's a little more reserved. He's still down, and like when he gets comfortable and confident, like he pushes hard. But it takes him a bit to get there, where Grayson is just, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
No fear.
So I know we've taken like an hour of your time. I have one last question for me. I don't know if you've got any extras, Ross, but I was just thinking, you've got the Spec 5, and that's a super high performance kind of very exciting deal. And Ford itself has the GTD. Now, what do you think those would be like back to back? And have you tried it?
Have you driven a
GTD? Try the
GTD?
GTD? Yeah.
Well, I'm the owner of a GTD.
So how do they stack up?
Yeah. And you would.
I mean, if you're sworn to secrecy, please don't.
No. Totally. No. Absolutely. I mean, the GTD is a race car, right? The GTD is literally a race car that was built into a street car. It has a, DCT transaxle. It's got a fully custom rear subframe. It's got massive amounts of downforce. It's got fully custom double-A arm suspension, front and rear. Hydraulic suspension that drops and lowers it. So I mean, it's also a almost $500,000 car. So we're really not in the ballpark. But that being said, you put the vehicles next to each other, and it's your opinion what looks better. Right. Yeah. So aesthetically, right, both the wide body, both have their very unique design and very different cars. So that is up to personal opinion. Yeah. Right. If I'm being completely honest, I may be biased, but like when they're both next to each other, I look at the Spec 5 and I'm more attracted to it. But when I look at the GTD, which you might be able to find online, it's leadfoot gray. I've got hyperlime accents. It's definitely on my Instagram page. But when I look at the GTD, I'm like, it's a freaking race car, and it looks awesome.
Neither car looks bad, for sure. They definitely have a look.
And when it comes to like driving experience, the GTD is, it makes you feel like a freaking superhero. You know what I mean? Like I used to own a Ford GT. And driving the GT or the GTD, I feel to me is a more visceral, better driving experience than that supercar. And the Spec 5 is also, equally as raw minus the DCT shifts. Yeah. So the Spec 5 has 870 horsepower. The GTD has 810. And the Spec 5, can actually pull on the GTD. On a roll, right? That's where the horsepower comes in. And the Spec 5 might even be a little bit lighter. But, look, if you're looking for a pure performance track car, the GTD all day. If you're looking for, a third of the price street car that can go on the track.
For ADM, allegedly there's some real ADM going on with the GTDs.
Oh, so, yeah, probably.
What's that?
The dealer markups.
Added dealer markup.
I mean, I'm pleased that both exist. I don't have a preference. Yeah. I just love that they're out there. To me, it's interesting the comparison. And there's so much potential in the Mustang itself, and the GTD is so specialized to me that the rear subframe is my favorite part of that car.
So, all right, so suspension. So let's do Mustang nerdism for a quick second. So the S550 and then S650 are the first Mustangs that have actual real suspension, that actual modern suspension. Where do you notice the difference in the inboard suspension that the GTD has the most? Is it like rough surfaces, or is it like in the corners?
Oh man, I mean, it's really hard to dial in what you're feeling based on the cantilever suspension in the rear. It's it creates a 1-to-1 motion ratio. So like the connectivity to the car is like
1-to-1.
The connectivity to the car, meaning
it's not like you're not getting like it moves linear. It's not like
so like when a shock. Okay, so when a shock or when an arm goes through its arc in a standard suspension, wherever the shock is mounted will create the motion ratio of the vehicle. Okay. So a motion ratio could change, but this is like a true 1-to-1. So for every movement of the wheel, effectively, as I understand it, basically the shock is moving that much.
Wow.
So the connectivity of the vehicle is so, and I could be misstating that, but that's my belief. Like the RTRX has cantilever suspension, but that is like it's like a 2.5 to 1. So every 1.25 inches equals 1 of what the shock is feeling. But I believe the GTD is basically 1-to-1. And so, but irrespective of that, it's really hard to decipher the car because it is just so dialed. The response of it from steering is just like, it's crazy. And like the drivability that they were able to get into this race car. Now, don't get me wrong, like you're bouncing and it's a little rough on the road, but like it's still very drivable. I literally drove it to the thing I told you. I went to the Ford Racing immersion today at the technical center, and I drove it there, and I had one of my team members with me, and they just the whole time were just like, "Can you freaking believe
like
this
the fact
thing?"
That it's like, maybe a little rough, but it's a race car that goes on the street, starts every day. You can sit in a traffic jam, won't overheat. Like that's the thing. It's not just the parts; it's how they were put together. It's a
100%. I mean, it's a fully re-engineered race car that they put into the Mustang. And the Spec 5 starts out as a Mustang, and then we add our suspension. Our full coilover suspension, sway bars, everything's designed to work with each other. Forged wheels, the wide body, and then obviously supercharger, interior, and all the bits. So, two amazing vehicles. I'm a proud soon-to-be owner of both of them, and they'll both have two purposes in my life. And I can't even believe I'm saying that I have both of those cars. It's such a weird thing from like where I came from.
Babysitter for a little while. I know a place.
Just call Ross.
Hit me up.
Yeah.
Okay. I got that would be joy. That would be there would be no forward progress. I got 2 questions, and I know we're all tight on time. If you were to do a car that isn't a Ford, where would you turn your efforts?
I would do my own car.
Ooh.
You just like ground up totally. Yeah. Would you take a chassis and turn it into something? You'd really AutoCAD
I think that I probably would focus on that, my development there on the chassis and body, and then use existing powertrain.
Okay. So use things that are known to function.
I'm never gonna. I don't see myself making the investment to be able to do my own engine development, transmission development, driveline development program. But I could see us developing a chassis and chassis body, creature comfort.
We've seen that. What company was that had like you could buy like a standalone chassis and then like plop a Raptor body onto it? What was
Factory 5?
Of course it was Factory 5.
Yeah, but like Pantera, that is a cool example of like something I'm not saying we are doing, I'm not saying we're not, but that's something I could see us doing one day, is like partnering, to like, take some of Ford's greatest stuff and then put it inside of a chassis that we create. I think that would be a lot of fun one day. But
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
all right, Ross, what's your second question?
What was your next one? What was the next one?
Second question, the 2026 docket. What you got going on?
So Mint 400. We're doing that race. We're going to go to Moab for off-road safari. Lauren and Bailey are racing Ultra 4 there. Formula Drift season starts in April. I'll be doing Atlanta, which is second round this year, I think. And I'll be doing the last round in Long Beach. Really excited about, the Mustang RTR and Bronco RTR with Ford coming out. So we got a lot of, initiatives, to work around launch with that. We are working on some new product here that I can't speak about, but some new spec product, which I'm really excited about. It's a vehicle we've not done before, that I think people are going to be really excited about. Can you
tell us how many driven wheels it has?
It has 4 driven wheels. Yeah. And it will be lowered, and it's not a Mustang.
Ooh.
So
okay.
Yeah. So that'll be really, I'm excited about that. We've got a time attack program going on with Misha Chardon and the guy many people know from driving cars at the Nürburgring. So he's got a Spec 5 that our partner Unitesta in Europe and he worked together to build, and we're going to evolve that, and he's going to be doing time attack with it. So I'm really looking forward to that, and spending some time with the fam and just continuing to follow the compass of fun and cool shit.
Hell yeah, man.
Whichever way that goes.
That sounds like the best corporate plan I've heard in a long time.
Seriously.
We try over here.
Well, great. I'm all out of questions and commentary. So I appreciate the time that you have spent with us.
Yeah. Anything really else fun. You want to pitch, plug? I feel like we've covered the bases.
I just want to thank everybody for the love, and the hate. But no, like it, the support that I get, and when I meet people on the ground that, just their excitement around what we're doing, it feels really cool to be seen. I don't do it for that, but like when it happens, it's like, oh, that's really cool. Like that impacted this person. We impacted that person just by doing what we do. And so I'm very honored. I feel very grateful. And let's keep having fun, friends. Oh yeah. And by the way, if you were one of the jerks at Chocolate Thunder, King of the Hammers, throwing fireworks, starting fights, throwing beer cans.
What?
Let's be better representatives of off-road culture.
Wait, hold on. We're not wrapping yet. What happened?
Okay.
There's idiots. Idiots show up.
They literally shut down Chocolate Thunder because people were going there, starting fights, just creating a bunch of drama.
No.
They literally shut it down. And it was on the desert weekend. I mean, I've never seen that happen the regular rock racing weekend. So it seems like it's a different crowd. But it's just like, man, like we're at this government recreation area where literally you can do whatever you want all night long.
And the people going there are there for the same reason. Like,
right. It was crazy to me and very disappointing. And so we're better than that. And, if anyone in the culture sees it, call them out. Let's not make this a cool thing. Let's make sure that we shut it down and respect people and respect the areas that we're able to play at. Yep. So Anyway, that's my tangent. That's the love. Thank you all.
Worthwhile tangent.
That's respect.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. No, thank you so much. We'll have to do this again at some point soon once your schedule calms down.
Yeah, man.
All right. Sick, y'all.
All right,
Thank you
buddy.
very much. Oh, nice to see you.
Thanks, dude.
All right.